what's your key demographic? What's your ideal customer? What are you guys looking for?
Happy people.
Happy people. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I like happy people.
What's put the biggest smile on your face since you guys have taken over the space?
Wow, probably the day that our liquor license was approved.
I bet.
That was a big one for me. That
yeah, that's not good rent if you're not able to sell alcohol.
those were some. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I was very, very pleased about that.
Yeah.
And honestly, what makes me really happy is every time someone comes in here and they walk up to me and they're like, wow, I just had a really great meal, or like, this was so much fun tonight, or we're here from out of town, and we had no idea something like this existed in a little town like Pittsboro.
Right.
That, that's the kind of thing that brings me joy. And right now I feel like Pittsboro's changing so much.
Changing fast, yeah.
We get so many new people in here that are either looking to move to Chatham Park or they've already moved, and this is a first time discovery for them. And they're like, we can't wait to come back.
Well, let me ask you this. Eric asked you about demographics. The sense I get about this place, especially the whole SoCo project, is it's something that also appeals to young people because it's unique. It's not standard, and we're not going to mention the place up the road, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
What got you interested in this spot?
So the Mod in specific,
well,
or Pittsboro.
You're free to go whichever way you want.
Because you guys were established in Sanford, right?
Right. Jeff had been there for a long time, but as you know, Jeff used to be partial owner of City Tap as well. So Jeff has had a foot in Pittsboro for years. I've lived in Pittsboro for about 8 years now. I lived in Holly Springs before that. I moved to Pittsboro because I loved the small town rural feeling of it. It's changing a little bit, but I think it still kind of has that, and I think that our downtown folks are doing a good job of trying to preserve that quaint feeling that everybody loves here.
I had a tenant tell me, I don't know if this is accurate, but it's 26 different places to buy a drink in Pittsboro now.
Wow, is there really?
Does that sound right?
That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's and Greg and I remember when there were 0 places.
No, I remember.
Wow. Someone told me it used to be dry.
Yeah. Somebody told me right. Yeah,
Yeah,
not too long ago.
Okay.
Not too good. And I remember when there was a vote on it, liquor by the drink referendum, and one of the people that was against it actually went to the old folks home and picked up 50. Like the vote was like, seriously, the vote was like 61 to 55. Is how close the vote was, right?
And wasn't there a rumor that is going to also bring strip clubs into the community?
Yes.
Someone said that would be interesting.
We're not going there.
I don't think we're ready for that.
No.
All right, so going back to, you've got that background going there, and that's why Pittsboro appealed to you. What appealed about the mob?
I have been a supporter of Dylan and Claudia since day one.
Yeah.
This was a natural transition. Both of them are very dear people to me. So when the opportunity presented itself, it was something that I was like, I need to do that.
It's never easy to transfer like leases and businesses and everything, and the liquor license and everything that had to be done and everything. I think you guys having that familiarity and connection definitely made, I mean, it wasn't going to be easy, period, but that probably made it a lot easier.
All right, that brings up the question, which of these two was the hardest to deal with?
Well,
I didn't show up.
I was going to say Greg, because I didn't get to deal with him at all.
Yeah, Eric's like learn. He's like, no, Greg, you need to stay home.
Well,
and Eric he never tried to like choke me or anything like that with my billion questions with the lease.
No, you didn't.
What's the best question she threw at you?
He blocked all of that out.
Hey, as long as you
I don't remember the best question or whatever. I mean, they were both Jamie and Jeff were detail oriented or whatever. It was and they had so many plates spin at the same time. It was everybody wants to get done now, but it was like we had to do A, B, C, D, and it's just it wasn't easy or whatever. But it all worked out in the end. I know for a fact that you had a cooperating landlord that wanted an easy transition and to continue. We didn't want like it to change 100%. You know what I mean? I know you got to put your own influence into it and everything, but this was already successful, and we wanted to continue the success. And so I think you had a lot of cooperation on the landlord side because, well, you had a lot of respect for Dylan and Claudia as well as you wanted to. You know how much, and they put actual money into the improvements of this, so
really
all of that helped.
And those two would have not leased here had this not already been successful.
Right.
And when you say these two, for people
Meaning,
not
I'm talking
aware.
about Doherty's and Havoc, when they came in here, you know, they'd come here on Friday and Saturday night and friggin' hopping.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this can work.
And you actually advocated for Dylan. I was against this space being with the same tenant.
Right.
Because, like, you know, as a property manager and a landlord representative, I don't like too many eggs in one basket.
Right.
And so, you know, I was like, great, the mod's successful and everything, but this is a whole different animal. What he ended up doing, I mean, I can say unequivocally I was wrong, but I didn't like the fact that we were going to have so much square footage.
To one tenant.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and it ended up all working out.
You know, I think it has worked out because there is nothing like this place
No.
in a 60-mile
Anywhere.
radius.
Anywhere, yeah.
The closest thing to it, honestly, is the sports and social in Cary, and that's a completely different animal in itself, where you can just go and you have bands and games and lots of space.
Yeah, the way bars are changing right now, wearing a bracelet and pouring your own beer is like, I mean, I know that's popular right now, but like
That's
is like,
right.
this is more my
That's
vibe
right.
right here.
No,
and I'm not saying anything bad about anybody else. It's just like, I expect, if I'm at a bar, I want somebody to pour my beer.
I like that. I like the personal connection.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
when someone serves you something,
Uh-huh.
and I enjoy the act of service. You know, when I'm behind the bar, that's something that I actually, it's funny. I just talked to Greg earlier, and I was like, I don't want to be behind the bar all the time because I've got a lot of irons in the fire over here. But when
Right.
I do have the moment where I am not feeling stressed and I can just be behind the bar, bartending is honestly one of my favorite things to do.
I bartended for a long time, and it's one of the greatest times I've ever had in my life. I mean, you're psychiatrist, counselor, entertainer, everything.
I wouldn't
right?
want you as a psychiatrist.
No, you wouldn't want me as a psychiatrist. But that's but people unload on you, don't they?
I mean, sometimes. I think my greatest joy in it, though, is making a cocktail for someone that they get it and they're like, wow,
Right.
this is phenomenal.
So speaking of psychology and bartending, I think the single greatest revelation of someone's personality is what they order. Like, you can tell
can
so
be.
much about someone by the drink that they order.
Or the type of day that they've had.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know, some people,
Yeah.
we have regulars, you know, they're very reasonable people. They come in, they'll order a martini or, you know, just something simple or a beer. But I always know, you know, the day that they come in and they're
That's
like,
neat.
ooh, I think I'll have a tall, cold tequila
Yeah.
double. Like, ow.
What changes have you made here? I know, let's talk about food and then let's just talk in general, because these guys are like, he was originally going for salad, but going for pizza. I'm going for pizza.
You're buying my wife
I'm
a
buying
pizza.
his wife a pizza. I think it's going to be okay with my wife.
Yeah.
What food changes have you made?
So I think one of the things that we initially have done is we have tried to streamline our menu, because what has happened with how the mod has grown and what has grown around the mod is we have a limited capacity in our kitchen and we serve so many plates of food. A good portion of that is takeout. And when you have a really large menu in a restaurant, it is difficult for a kitchen to keep up with everything. And we want to produce healthy, fresh, quick meals. And having a huge menu, we just can't do that.
Right.
So streamlining the menu has really helped us a lot. We have refined a lot of our ingredients. We have improved quality of all
When you
of our
say
produce.
refined ingredients, what do you mean by that?
Things like having 4 different kinds of lettuce that it isn't necessary. You know, you pick one really good lettuce and you can use it on multiple things. That's part of our refining. But the refining is also like making sure our cheese is the best quality that we can buy. Working with our food vendors to, you know, try new things. You know, the mod menu has been the mod menu for a very, very long time. And that's not saying that it was ever broken, but I also feel like when you have a menu for over a decade, it gets kind of tired. You know, people like change, they want change. So we are working on doing things like specials.
That's good.
A daily special every day. We eventually are hoping to migrate to sort of a certain section of our menu being seasonal. That seems like something that would be really fun.
We want the food?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Right. And get pictures of this. I want pictures of this on
You know what,
there.
I gotta go get my other phone, but you guys keep talking, because you don't really need me. You were talking about changes.
Well, and Pittsboro is a special town. Like Pittsboro expects or wants specials. I think that's
Right.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, you know, we do that at the Barrel, and the specials are really popular because you know the menu there is a
I can see Sanford being
a small
similar.
menu as
Yeah.
well. But people come in specifically for the specials a lot.
Anything from Sanford that got carried over to here?
No, you know,
Right.
we had talked about
I
that for a
remember
little
originally.
while,
Yeah.
and we just decided that let's just keep them both special
Right.
and
Yeah.
leave it at that.
Yeah.
The only thing that carried over from Sanford here is we have our kitchen manager
Good.
here now, and we're so excited to have him. He is an amazing chef. His attention to detail and care is it takes a lot of stress off of my plate, and I really appreciate that.
Well, I remember when Dylan got it from Tim. Did he change anything from Tim, menu wise?
Not really.
I think
mean,
just a couple of small changes.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
in overtime. Yeah, I think he
I remember
added a
that.
couple
This is.
things.
I thought this. My Tim story. I'm not going to tell all the Tim stories, but one Tim story I'll tell is like he had all the menu on the back wall, like in chalk or writing, and it's hard for me to read. And the line was going out the door. He was so successful. The line was going out the door, but like, you can't figure out where you're going to order until you're like third or fourth in line because you couldn't see. And I was like, Tim, you have to have printed menus. He's like, I will never have a printed menu. I mean, he just thought that because he was going for a different vibe or whatever.
Right.
But I'm glad you guys have printed menus. Not that Tim did anything wrong, but I
well,
think
at this point, I need a large print menu so
Yeah,
I can actually
right.
read the menu anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I did increase the font on all of the receipts for everyone, including myself, because you could not read them.
Right, thank you so
You're very
much.
welcome.
Oh, let me get it.
All right,
Jamie, do you
this
need
is the
anything?
Italian.
You thirsty?
Great sandwich.
I'm going to regret not getting
I'm
it.
probably
No.
gonna
You are
have to
gonna
get
regret
myself
not
here in a
getting
second. I
Italian.
don't know what I want though. Do you guys want some
Alright.
plates?
I have a few plates and
Sure, a few
napkins
places,
right
and
there.
also if you have Tabasco or
I have
hot sauce.
sriracha, Frank's, Texas
Frank's,
Pete.
fine.
Okay.
Do you,
There you go.
how hot do you like your hot sauce?
Depends, for something like this, Frank's is fine.
Juan's is deadly.
I was gonna say we have
Bring
Wait,
Juan
wait,
on.
hang on. Bring the hottest thing you have.
I'm gonna bring two.
And
I'll
then
bring
you
the
look
hot
into
one
the
and
camera
All right, I'll
when
look
you do
into
that.
the camera. Okay, well, you were talking about change. How long have you been in the food industry?
On and off for a very long time.
All right.
Since I was a teenager.
Wow.
So you started back in high school?
I did.
First place you worked?
Caposio's Pizza
Okay.
in, gosh, what is it? Union Pier, Michigan. I don't know if they're still open, actually. And then I spent several years at Heyerdahl's Cafe in Bridgman, Michigan. Some of those people were the loves of my life. Such a great family restaurant.
I'm going to Marino's in Saratoga in a couple weeks in upstate New York, and they have a stromboli that I'm dying for.
Are you
I miss
really?
stuff like that. Yeah, there's good places around here, but like what you grow up with and what you're used to,
Absolutely.
Marino's in Saratoga is going to be exciting.
I can understand that. Heyerdahl's was a family restaurant, and they had the best homemade, super yeasty dinner rolls that I've ever had in my life, like Graham would make. And I spent a year in Germany as an exchange student,
Oh, wow.
and while I was there, I kept, friends would call and they'd be like, "What do you miss about home?" I was like, "I miss Heyerdahl's rolls." One of the older waitresses that worked there, Rose, she mailed me rolls to Germany. They were not delicious
I was
by
gonna
the
say,
time
how
they
does
got
that
there.
go? That's
However,
not
it was the
The thought
sentiment.
counts.
The smell was there. It was great.
Any German beers from your time as a student make it to the month?
No.
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 They take their beer seriously there, don't they?
They do. They do. And it's strange. I'm a little picky with beer. I'm not a huge Hefeweizen or Kolsch person. I'm not a fan of the German beers for
Right.
some reason.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to turn that off.
because
So
we're
you
starting
can
to eat.
Yes.
Yeah, but we got a conversation going here. We ate at
Tim Canuck.
Rufus's.
All right.
All right, let me just restart this one.